You're about to listen to the Pro Wrestling Zone podcast, a Majestic production property. One of the quickest rising professional wrestling podcasts on the market today, and the most entertaining podcast in the history of existence. Please note, before diving into the show, that this is for entertainment purposes only, so myself and Peanut Gallery engage in exaggerations, dirty or offensive jokes, and satirical comments. If you are a triggered little snowflake who gets professionally offended, this is not the podcast for you. If you do enjoy our work, we ask that you contribute to our Patreon page at patreon.com/MajesticP. Contributors get access to the Discord, vote on what topic we cover, and enjoy exclusive content such as pay-per-view watch parties. Here's a sample of that from NXT TakeOver Portland. What about the other company that Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly went from?
Oh, ROH?
The one that they were signed exclusively to.
Oh, Ring of Honor?
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. Oh my God. I felt that in my hand. If this is something you believe you would enjoy, visit our Patreon at patreon.com/MajesticP and become a patron. This ensures that we continue to entertain you for years to come. Without further ado, sit back and enjoy the show. And we are back. Now, I'm going to preface this as this...
My God, this was terrible.
This event overall could
Except for the last two matches. Last two matches were decent. But
Yep.
everything else was just bad.
Yep.
It was bad.
This basically, so you're sitting in a car and you're on stall. You could not get out of stall in this show.
No.
This crowd, I'm sorry, Philadelphia, you fucking suck.
Yeah.
Now you were produced bullshit in a basket, but at the same time, you know, New York can make this better.
And here's the thing about the Philadelphia crowd is that when you think about Philadelphia and you think about wrestling, the first thing that comes to mind is literally a bingo hall underneath a freeway.
These are bloodthirsty little shits.
The only time they popped was when there were tables and kendo sticks and chairs and other things happening. But otherwise, it was, I mean, granted, WWE does a terrible job with producing quality this is, you have to understand, I give WWE all the benefit of the doubt, but they cannot expect a serious wrestling fan to be involved in the product without just being bored. It was boring. It was so boring.
The thing is that wrestling is about context.
It's about telling a story.
Yes.
And no match, besides the last two matches, told any semblance of a story.
Absolutely.
Like, what story is there in Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak? The match...
Which sucks.
The match sucked because there was no story to it.
The crowd was quieter.
Why?
The crowd was quieter than a whore in church.
I mean, good Lord. I mean, you know, I next week I'm going to talk about storyline.
You just want to do a fucking monologue, Ryan?
Next week I'm going to do a monologue next week on storyline developments, and then you'll wonder why I am such high on AEW and not on WWE is because at least AEW can tell a fucking story with their match. Yes. WWE cannot tell a story worth shit. I mean, you have to use the fucking commentators. The fucking commentators have to tell the story for you. Why? Are we stupid?
Can you at least wait until next week's show?
I'm hyperventilating.
Here, have some wine. So anyway, while he's drinking, this is Elimination Chamber 2020. So we're about 10 days out from Super Showdown, which was the show that they really wanted to promote, which is unfortunate. And you know, somehow they made fucking Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak and AJ Styles versus Aleister Black boring. First match was Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. Now, the substance of the match itself was not bad, But the problem is that the commentators were just, like, the entire night, the commentators were literally just grating.
Oh my god, they were terrible.
I was about to
don't even get me started on the commentators.
That'll be for next week.
Fuck Corey Graves.
Okay, so keep that in mind. Hashtag fuck Corey Graves. Hashtag wife beater. Anyway, way to leave your kids and your wife. So,
the crowd was silent during this match. Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak would have otherwise been a great match, but I could not get into it
because a lot of what this rivalry was built on was on commentary. Not backstage segments, not attack on Daniel Bryan's neck, not about, oh, I'm a much better wrestler than you are, cutting a promo in the ring where the crowd can pop for it,
right,
and people can get interested.
Right.
If they built this better, I don't even care if it's like a week out, they could have had something better. But for me, I was bobbing my head. I was so tired.
Oh my god.
But Daniel Bryan did win, and Drew Gulak did not tap, so they're going to continue this rivalry. At the same time, I'm not mad about that.
Oh my god. But don't put it on a pay-per-view 2 weeks into the rivalry, please. Right. So speaking of a rivalry that
before we do this, I had a great analogy about the Daniel Bryan Gulak match and I thought that you agreed with me on this. So for a man, I think for a chick too, because I'm pretty sure you guys like have a little like orgasm in between, where a guy like jerks off and he has like a little spritz, but not like full blown. That's kind of what this match was, where they're trying to blow the load too soon.
Right.
And this is this kind of rivalry where you can take 3 months to build it, and if you build it right, it's like a main event match on this kind of a show, and nobody would be mad.
Right.
But the problem is that Drew Gulak was on commentary, and the announcers explained basically throughout the entire show that
what this rivalry was about.
Right, that Drew Gulak gave pointers to Heath Slater and Curtis Axel. I watched those matches because I felt like I had to. A lot of people were saying that they were actually decent matches, and I'm going to have to agree with them.
But it was way too soon.
This match as a singles match was too soon. If they had like a 6-man tag or something to start off the show, I don't think I would have been nearly as pissed off as I was.
You know, and then we talk about, well, New Japan Pro Wrestling does those kinds of matches all the time, but you have to understand the premise of New Japan Pro Wrestling. New Japan Pro Wrestling literally are like factions fighting against each other.
Right.
That literally is like the entire premise of it.
And also they don't have like a regular television show.
Right.
They do tours.
Right.
It's different. They announce the card and then they build a rivalry around that. Where this, it's just butted, and then they just put this match here for reasons.
There is a place and a time for a 6-man tag match, and I felt like this would have been
perfect. Drew Gulak, Heath Slater, and Curtis Axel versus Daniel Bryan and 2 other schmucks.
Right.
It wouldn't have mattered. It would have given more people exposure to the people who need it, like a Heath Slater, like a Curtis Axel, like a Bo Dallas, etc., etc.
Right.
And they didn't.
Right.
And I felt like this was a wasted talent with Daniel Bryan, who obviously is Daniel Bryan, and Drew Gulak.
Daniel Bryan.
Wrestler.
Do we need to say more about Daniel Bryan?
And then Drew Gulak, who has constantly produced really good matches, but for some reason there's something about this that just did not click.
Right.
And it was annoying. It's like, God damn, this would be like a semi-main event match, and it would have been
if it happened to like Money in the Bank, for the first time,
for the first time, and it would have been so cool to see.
Right. All right. Well, speaking of a match that came too soon, what about a match that's way past its prime?
They basically beat the dead horse, gave it a full 5-star funeral with a couple of $100,000. They dug up the horse, burned it, and then beat the charred remains. Put in ashes. They would have shoved it up his ass.
No, they resuscitated it and then they killed it again.
They killed it again, and they put the entire horse up Vince McMahon's ass because apparently he can't get his head out of this rivalry. Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo for the United States champion. This was annoying. And I hate it because the match itself was fine.
It ended the same way that all of the other matches did.
If you saw the Money in the Bank ending, this was literally no different. tights pulled, roll up, Andrade retains, a decent match overall, contextual, but for some goddamn reason, Vince McMahon has such a hard-on for these two brown motherfuckers that you put the United States goddamn motherfucking champion on it, and, and then he's like, why are these guys getting over?
Because nobody cares. It's like the 8th time it's happened
I'm going to
in
say,
2 months. This isn't the 8th time it's happened ever. It's the 8th time.
It's you can't get anybody over, and Vince McMahon gets bored of them because they do the same shit over and over again. You have a writers of 20 people for one goddamn show, and they can barely hogpodge some bullshit pay-per-view together where multi-billion-dollar companies invest in you, and then the casual viewer sees you as the gold standard of wrestling.
You're no longer the gold standard.
No.
As far as storyline writing goes, go watch AEW for a few weeks, Vince. You might learn something about storyline development.
And if you want to know how to build a long-lasting match, watch New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, watch New Japan.
You can watch a 30-minute match in New Japan Pro Wrestling with a decent
and not get bored.
Right, with a decent build-up, a lot of emotion, the people are into it, you get emotionally invested.
Yes.
And it's like, you have, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, an hour and 30-minute match, and you can watch it over and over and over again, where you can barely watch a 10-minute slog fest on Monday Night Raw with probably 700,000 other people watching. And then you wonder why people aren't getting over.
Right.
Maybe because you are such an old-time piece of garbage that CM Punk had a fucking point 10 years ago.
Oh. All right, so I'm gonna ditto that sentiment because I am sick of. If I see Humberto Carrillo versus Andrade, I will literally scream.
I know. I'm getting tired of it.
I'm so tired of Humberto Carrillo, and I'm pretty sure that if you ask the casual fan,
you had 3 other people who could have been in this match and would have been better.
Right.
What I would have loved to see for the United States champion, and I even promoted this, was Andrade versus Aleister Black for the United States champion.
Right.
That would have been awesome.
That's money.
But we're going to get to that match later. Oh, trust me, we're going to get to that match.
All right, let's talk about the first boring match.
This match, okay, I have a mixed bag feeling about this match
overall. I did
overall.
not like this match. This match was too slow. The Lucha House Party had no reason to be in this fucking match.
Oh, they botched a couple times. So
the Lucha Botch Party.
This was the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match.
The only thing that made any sense, John Morrison, The Miz versus the Usos, that's money. That is a money pay-per-view.
John Morrison, The Miz, and The New Day, I did not have a problem with.
But we've already seen that. We have not seen John Morrison. Well, we have seen John Morrison, Miz versus the Usos. But I want to see them go for the title at Mania. And then Heavy Machinery and Robert Roode, Dolph Ziggler. Of course.
I don't mind this because
Nuclear Heat
was very over.
Yes.
The Otis thing going through, going to the outside, where he wasn't actually pinned, that was great. I love that.
Yeah.
And
but Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler versus Heavy Machinery, that is money written all over it.
Oh yeah, this is how a love story is done because now the men are involved.
Yeah. Hey, Vince. Fuck the Bobby Lashley triangle. Fuck that shit. No one cares, and everyone knows that Lana and Rusev are still married. Don't try and play with us.
Right. And it's annoying
Fuck
that they do
that.
Now, like I said, there were a lot of shining moments in this match that I very much enjoyed.
I like the one where he flipped off the ceiling.
So Lindsay Dorado got on top of the ceiling and did like a shooting star.
Well, he's going to be on promos for the next 4 months.
Oh, easily. Which is going to suck because, Lucha Botch Party. The thing is that really the Lucha House Party were not. The Lucha House Party and New Day would have been easily gone if they had 2 more matches in this. You don't need 2 Elimination Chamber matches to justify this happening.
Right.
If we had John Morrison and The Miz versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and then we had Heavy Machinery versus Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, I would have been fine with.
Right.
In fact, I actually probably would have enjoyed those a lot more.
Right.
But for some reason, they wanted more than 1 Elimination Chamber match in this. How about this? An Elimination Chamber match for the United States Championship.
Duh!
That would have been better. Then you would have had Andrade, Humberto Carrillo, either Angel Garza and Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, Aleister Black, still built everything else, and had another Elimination Chamber match without another Andrade and Humberto Carrillo match.
That's too hard for them, though.
I pulled that off, probably not entirely sober. Let's not get into a car. And I thought of that literally this second.
That's true.
This shit is not hard.
No, but anyways, Morrison, Miz retained. Yeah, but there were some great moments, but overall, it's just...
I love the interaction with Morrison and Miz versus the Usos. I thought they had great chemistry.
Oh my god, they are going to do something at Mania with that. Absolutely. They have to. But it was overall, it was just meh. You know, it was the worst out of the two.
In my notes, it says some great moments, but meh. That's literally what I said.
The second one was better.
Oh, easily.
Oh, all right.
AJ Styles versus Aleister Black in a no disqualification.
Oh my. Okay, let me do my diatribe on this bullshit here.
Take it away.
How? It's a no disqualification match, and you're in Philadelphia, and it took you 10 minutes to get fucking weapons out. Oh, and was there some magical fucking force field around Aleister Black? Because, you know, I guess Luke Gallows or Carl Anderson couldn't touch him for the whole fucking match. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like seriously.
It made no sense, and it's like, okay, I don't even care if this match went maybe all of 5 minutes. If it made sense, then I don't think anybody would have been mad.
And then you have this again. This is another storyline, like the Daniel Bryan one. It's like, oh, let's build up. Oh, we're 1 week in. Let's put on pay-per-view because that's a great idea. Said, oh, this got good shit right here. Mr. McMahon kind of bullshit with his 80 writers in the fucking Titan Tower. Oh, there can be some good shit right here, guys. Oh, let me just go match my blood money. Oh.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah.
My problem is my sentiments exactly. This match, for it being a no disqualification,
it was pretty disappointing.
Slow. Now, when you think no disqualification, it's like, oh, we don't like botch fest matches. The thing is that for a regular singles or tag match, a botch fest does not have to be necessary. But for a no disqualification,
it's a spot fest.
We want the spots. We want, chairs and ladders, and we got, a good table spot. There were great moments in this match.
But there weren't enough. And you're in fucking Philadelphia. Need I remind you, a little bingo hall underneath the fucking freeway?
Is it really under a freeway?
Yeah.
Oh. Was it under a freeway in the 90s?
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, but the biggest pop did come because The Undertaker showed up.
Yes, and everyone freaked out over that.
Oh, everyone lost their mind, and that was the biggest pop of the night of a guy who's probably going to retire next year, I guarantee it.
And then Fox also pissed because John Cena got the biggest pop of the night. WWE can't even build stars anymore.
Right.
I mean, good lord. I mean, AEW, well, I guess it wasn't AEW. I guess it was the Young Bucks who took Hangman Page, a jobber at ROH, and made him into something.
And now people were screaming cowboy shit, and he was the most over thing there. But now the thing is that he
good lord.
Now, just for record's sake, Aleister Black did win, and this was the difference between Peanut Gallery and myself.
So he's still the champion.
I'm still the champion.
But
it was once again
good lord,
another bullshit finish.
But this is when we really realized that the crowd was dead.
Yep.
This crowd. Nobody cared. It was silent. And, again, I'm going to go back to Japan, because in Japan they're silent, but that's just the way that Japan is. In America, I expect there to be some sort of movement and excitement and chanting going on, because it's still entertainment.
Right.
It's still entertainment.
You see, the thing is there was a difference between New Japan and WWE. WWE focuses more on the entertainment and production aspect.
Right.
Where New Japan focuses on the outwardly respect because of sumo wrestling.
Right.
And then the fact that that's just their culture.
Right.
There's a huge cultural difference between them. It's like, oh, they're really silent at Wrestle Kingdom. Yes, but that's expected.
Right. I mean, have you ever gone to a baseball game in Japan?
It's dead.
Yeah.
I've watched them in the Tokyo Dome, and it's dead because it's a respect thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we're here to watch the show.
Right.
Now, in WWE land, they want the people to scream and be loud and chant and do all of this. And in the Attitude Era and even in the Ruthless Aggression era, they were much louder. There was much bigger pops. You can you can look out and see the people lose their goddamn minds.
I think I saw like 1 or 2 signs the whole night.
Yeah, and it's like
where are all the signs?
Right, where there's no crowd interaction anymore. I don't even take signs to those. I mean, obviously we have a 15-pound championship to take. That's our sign. But at the time, we were taking signs, and we were the only people who did. We need to foster. I think this is part of a rant that we should do later, but I'll at least brush up on it with some more detail later. Is that there needs to be another cultural shift on where we can't. Wrestling is not a PG thing. It can't be. Obviously,
it can't be clean cut. It can't be publicly held. It just needs to be
its own thing, and they're going to make money. Obviously, like I said, I'll explain more on what the next week's show is going to be, and it's going to be a long one.
Yeah.
I can already tell. But anyway, so just for the sake of thing, Aleister Black won. The crowd was dead. Somehow WWE managed to pull off a boring AJ Styles match, and a boring Aleister Black match, and a boring Aleister Black versus AJ Styles match.
All right, let's give them all a big hand.
Fuck you.
All
right.
right.
A match that was significantly better was the Street.
I was cooking during this time, so I'll let Tiger Height do his thing here.
Right. Street Profits versus Seth Rollins and Murphy for the Raw Tag Team Champions. This is the third interaction
in a week and a half.
A week and a half of these guys and their show.
A week and a half.
Their match on Raw was significantly better. But this match overall was not terrible.
I see meh on there.
It was meh, but it wasn't terrible. It was a lot better than I expected. Let's put it that way.
My favorite part was when Kevin Owens came out.
So Kevin Owens was not underneath the ring like he was last week. He came down with a thing of popcorn. He leaped over. He just kind of sat on the commentary table. He didn't interfere. He threw some popcorn in Rollins' face. Technically not a disqualification because he didn't physically hit him. Rollins was taken out. Owens did not flinch whatsoever. Amazing guy.
Yeah.
It's super awesome. He knows exactly about subtlety, which is something that WWE needs to do. And well, no, they have a cool thing. I'm going to backtrack to the to an interview with Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode.
Oh, yes.
It was like a camera glitch thing. They're building to something, but it was subtle.
Yeah.
They did not miss a beat. And I looked at it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I wonder what that is.
Now, knowing WWE, I'm pretty sure it's a production error.
I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway... But he did not miss a beat. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And also, the Street Profits did retain. It was a spinebuster and a great frog splash.
Woohoo.
Montez Ford has some hops on him too, and they won. It was fine. Street Profits retained. Thank God, because I don't want Seth Rollins and Murphy to sniff those tag team champions. Have AOP, an actual tag team, go for the tag team champions. There's a place for everybody.
And remember when the Viking Raiders came out and interfered with AOP?
Oh, yes.
You heard the music. I'm like, okay, when someone's coming out to interfere in the match, normally you don't see, and normally you don't get the theme music, but I guess I got the theme music because WWE, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, exactly.
Fuck!
I know. It probably would have been better if they didn't have theme music. They just kind of ran out from backstage and attacked AOP, kind of neutralized that obvious glaring problem that the Street Profits would have faced otherwise. But it was fine. And then when Peanut Gallery came back from after making food was Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. I liked this match for the storyline purposes only.
This was probably one of the strongest storylines to come into it.
Yep. Sami Zayn was subtle on being that chicken shit kind of heel where he has
Sami Zayn won.
Yes, Sami Zayn, because basically it was a 3-on-1 handicap match for the Intercontinental Champion. Whoever pinned Strowman was Intercontinental Champion. But Sami Zayn promoted we are all going to be the champion if someone is champion. And this really builds more on that Sami Zayn being the championship because he did literally nothing.
Right. He let Shinsuke and Cesaro do all the work for him.
And I loved it because it's subtle. And it's like now Sami Zayn.
And it's like who's really leading who. Right. I can see a lot of good things come out of this, especially between Sami Zayn, Shinsuke, and Cesaro.
Right. And like I said, even with Strowman, I can see Strowman go back after them and destroying them all in some kind of match at WrestleMania, and I would not have a problem with it. Honestly, there wasn't a part in this match that I had a problem with.
No.
Sami Zayn kept running away from Braun Strowman. Cesaro, Shinsuke, and Braun Strowman have decent stuff. They had a decent flow going as a part of the handicap match itself. And I thought the ending was really good.
Absolutely.
All of them got involved. Sami Zayn hit the Helluva Kick. He pinned Strowman. So Sami Zayn is the Intercontinental Champion. Now, Sami Zayn, who is champion, has 2 bodyguards. Now Strowman can take out both of them right before WrestleMania. And then they will have a one-on-one match, and you can do, and that's just one. You can do multiple different ways on setting up this match that'll look good. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah,
this was great.
Yeah, absolutely. But so Sami Zayn's our new Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, also, it wasn't overbooked.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't.
Loved it.
I liked it. All right, last match though was the women's elimination chamber match.
The winner is the #1 contender for the Raw Women's Champion against Becky Lynch.
And if you didn't watch the match, it went about how you had expected it to go.
This was an awesome match. I like this match.
Oh, yeah. And Shayna Baszler was just dominating. So, I liked the interaction between Baszler and Asuka because we never got to see that in NXT.
Liv Morgan got some stuff in. Sarah Logan was a lot more over than I expected her to be as well. I really enjoyed that because I think Sarah Logan has gotten a lot better.
Ruby Riott was there. Natalya was there. This whole crew.
Oh, yeah, no. Nobody was buried because nobody was pinned or submitted outside of Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler ran the gamut. She eliminated everyone. She eliminated Logan.
And then we thought about why did they book this match? Well, see, because a casual viewer would not be familiar with Shayna Baszler.
Right. They'll be familiar with everybody else but Shayna Baszler.
Right.
And so building her as this dominating evil monster, it makes her look good but buries nobody. And then with Asuka being involved, they had some really good back and forth.
Yes.
Where, if Baszler does manage to win the Raw Women's Championship,
which is going to happen.
Probably. I would not be mad about Asuka being the next contender.
Yeah. But, okay, let's talk about, does WWE even know how people sit and watch matches?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so Becky Lynch, they showed pictures of Becky Lynch watching a match.
Okay, yes, no, physically. They used to do that. They used to do it right, where, so basically what Peanut Gallery's talking about is, how do people
She's sitting there. She's standing there 3 inches away from the television screen.
And also she's sideways with the belt on her arm. So here's what I would have done. If I was going to see the same thing. Becky Lynch sitting on a couch with the Raw Women's Champion sitting right next to her, still showing.
Yeah.
But then the television, all you see is the background. People are not stupid.
Right.
She's not sitting there watching fucking The Office.
Right.
She's sitting there watching the winner of this match.
And you want to be more authentic? Have put Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy in the same room. Because we all know that they're engaged. We all know that whoever she's watching it with, she's most likely watching it with her future husband.
Right.
And obviously you don't even have to show the TV.
You don't have to show the TV. In fact, I don't want you to show the TV because people are not stupid, which we will do on the next show.
I will explain the next show.
We'll have a little bit of a diatribe.
Oh my God, WWE is just so bad at it. Anyway, so Shayna Baszler won. It wasn't a bad match. It was certainly better than all the other matches on the show.
This was easily match of the night. I'm going to give this whole night 1 star out of 5.
I'm going to give it 1 star out of 5 as well. It was awful outside of the 2 matches.
It was awful. It was boring. The crowd was dead. The last 2 matches were the only time that people actually had a genuine reaction, except for The Undertaker.
Right. I mean, that's it. I mean, you want to cut half this pay-per-view out.
Right. And it's like, okay, we can totally do better, but we'll talk about that next week. So, I really have nothing else to say about this. This was an afterthought show, which it shouldn't have been. And it really hurts the integrity of the Elimination Chamber because the Elimination Chamber is a great concept.
Yeah.
You can really build a really good stuff, and I don't mind them doing number one
Right.
contenders.
But let's talk about going forward. Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens is pretty much confirmed.
Easily.
AJ Styles versus The Undertaker, that's pretty much confirmed.
Yep.
John Morrison, The Miz versus The Usos is more or less confirmed.
Right. We can't say pretty much with an uppermost certainty that
Yeah.
that's confirmed because we don't know what's going to happen outside of like the singles matches for WrestleMania.
Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo is pretty much confirmed. It'll be the 10th time they go against each other.
If they do that again, I'm going to be so goddamn pissed. Might as well get rid of the United States champion at this point.
'Cause it
Eddie
doesn't
Guerrero's
matter.
rolling in his grave.
Right.
So for next week, this is what we're going to do. Now, we have gotten a lot of criticisms that we are AEW apologists and that we just hate everything WWE. And our next show, we're going to go into depth more so.
Yes. If you have any questions about storyline development, please let us know. We will answer your questions.
And also, I want to hear your criticisms. Is it the fact that you think that we just hate WWE? Because honestly, that's literally the farthest from the truth.
Yeah,
And do you think we're AEW apologists because we have criticized AEW?
we have.
But we are going to go more in depth on why we talk about what we do as a part
Right.
of WWE, and just the fact that I'm going to go into a little bit more. I'm going to go into a lot more then. But WWE has to be that standard bearer, and it's not.
Right.
And it's disappointing.
Right, it is, because you're the biggest wrestling company in the world. You would think that people actually want to work for you, but there are more and more stars who don't want to work for you.
Right.
I mean, how many times has WWE approached Kenny Omega with multi-million-dollar
The
contracts?
Young Bucks did the same thing. They
Yeah.
shut it down. Brody Lee came out in an interview saying, "I am glad I left."
Yeah, so...
Like I said, we're gonna go into more in
Right.
depth about our actual stances on wrestling in general for the most part.
Right.
Because I've been listening to the last couple of shows, and I hate listening to us, but we do sound like WWE haters. And like I said, we aren't WWE haters. More so, we're very passionate about this.
Right.
Obviously, we would not be doing commentary if we weren't.
Right.
But we're going to explain more so on our history and, what we criticize and why we target WWE all the time, but that'll be for later.
Right.
And then, obviously, we are going to be going to the Ring of Honor 18th anniversary show, which is next week.
Which is next Friday, and so we'll be covering that on Sunday as well.
Yep.
So it'll be very similar to what we saw on here. It might be more half and half, just because the ROH show isn't going to be as long as this show was, but we'll leave time for ROH as well. So
thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed it, be sure to follow our stream wherever you're listening it on. Podbean, Podcast One, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Spotify, all the good stuff.
All the good stuff.
And also, if you see us with Goldie in Las Vegas, be sure to take a picture and hashtag Goldie on Twitter, and we'll share it. So, and as always, be
Majestic.